All right, so we have problems with crawling, and we see them all the time with our young athletes who are weak in their trunk, okay? So, restoring that pattern, we oftentimes go to, like we said, the knee to elbowing back. Now, we actually see that breakdown. It's just too dynamic right now for their little bodies and their weakness that they have. So what we do is we put a booty on one foot, on my right foot here. I'm going to put my right hand back, again, at about 2 hands length. I am going to slide now into the Spider-Man hip flex position and then push back. I'm going to pull through and come back, all right? So now, because they didn't have to actually pick their leg up or their spine's going all sideways and they're collapsing, they should have better control here, all right? If I don't have good control there, I take away more of the Spider-Man, which is more of a flare of the abduction of the hip, and I make it more linear. And I say, all right, so hands even now. We're not going to offset at all. Even hands. This is a regression. Just pull, knee under hip. Push it back. Keep your spine long. So here I am, hands under shoulders, wrists under shoulders. Pull, stay long. You want to put a stick on their spine? Put a stick on their spine. You saw that in our lead off of our planks. So again, they need to learn to associate stability of their trunk, flexion of their hip, not flexion of their spine with their hip. See, that's the stability issue, and we got to fix that leak. So that's a regression, and then we're going to go into our push-up plank variations next, which I think you'll enjoy.
Lastly, we're going to go to a push-up plank position as opposed to a forearm position. And we're going to try to attempt the opposite arm leg raise from there. So now this is even a greater upgrade. So we're going to go here, hands under shoulders, on the balls of the feet, long spine, lift and lift, holding. So there's a little bit more shoulder stability here. Down. Call that a 5. 5. And back down. We'll go one more cycle. Oh, looked torturous, didn't it? It is. So that completes our progression. Last note. Hopefully you're still hanging in there and listening. People ask me, where do I put this stuff in? I mean, where do you put it in your program? I will do this on an off day entirely on its own and just do some trunk stability work. Or I will complement any upper body day or lower body day at the end of the workout. Because the last thing we want to do is fatigue our stabilizers and then try to go perform functional movement patterns. So again, place this stuff at the end and you will gain maximal results. All right, as I've said before, one of our goals in the plank exercise is actually getting more dynamic with that. So the dynamic stability comes in like the exercise we use in our evaluation, our screen, is that we get in the plank and then we can work on getting leg lifts with arm lifts and getting nice, solid, strong trunks where we can stabilize. Another exercise that we use that feeds the running pattern, right, is we see our athletes today more than ever, our younger athletes, with all the sitting and lack of exercise, weak trunk, all right? Weak hip flexors. So this is an exercise designed to work on trunk stability. This is the push-up plank position, elevated on a 12-inch step. This is about right. It's called an assisted version for when you start. So we pull in the knee towards the hands, but as we do that, the opposite leg stays very long and straight, and my spine stays very straight. If I had the stick to put on my spine, again, I don't want to drop in my head or around my shoulders. So that's what we're looking for, that solid trunk, much like you would see in a solid Olympic sprinter, all right? So here, 1/1000, 2, pull it back. 1/1000, 2. Notice the toes pull up towards the shins as you come through this pattern, as we feed the gait pattern or the running pattern. So here and here. We'll use this for usually 8 to 10 repetitions per leg, and we will progress this as you'll see in 1 second. All right, advancing that exercise. So we're going to go push-up plank, feet elevated on the 12-inch step. Now from here, pull in, long leg, long spine, abs tight. Again, get that thoracic spine extended, get that head and neck from dropping. Pull 1/1000, 2, 1, 1,000, 2, 1, 1,000, 2, and again, 8 to 10 repetitions would be great for a set. All right, a great option. Once we are elevating our feet, and we're in the push-up plank position doing our alternate hip flexion, and you're able to accomplish that, another pattern that I use is a traditional exercise that we used to call hanging leg raise. Well, this we're going to tweak a little bit, and it's going to look like you are running in space, in midair. All right, so position here, just level with the shoulders. All right, we're going to let our arms hang. Now, notice this about my rib cage posture, where my elbows align with my shoulder. Ribs are up, elbows are pointed forward, and level with the shoulders as opposed to creating the turtleneck, right? So you do not want to be down here. So it also works on your rib cage muscles, all right, that depress your scapula, very important. So now, flex one hip to there. As you're flexing that hip near the top, extend the other leg or push it down through the ground. Make your butt tight, make your quad tight, and now we're going to switch. And it's going to look more like this in real time. I don't really pause too long here. Get to the top and get out of there, get the other one coming up. So here and here, stable trunk, here. And again, focus on that bottom leg, pushing it through the ground, pulling this up, but keeping your spine long. So I'm going to spin around really quick. And you'll see that from behind, that the spine doesn't move. So here we go. Okay, last question, how high do I go? You go as high as you can control, keeping this neutral. So I go as high as I can, which normal is a little bit above 90 degrees. So a little bit above the hip height to break that plane, but still don't allow that to happen. One last thing about the hanging leg raise exercise that you just saw. When we look to overload that exercise, let's say we've worked out, we're getting our 10 to 12 repetitions, our spine's solid, how do we make that harder? Your brain's already thinking, I'm going to ankle weight load, that would be one really great way. So first thing when I do that, I use somewhere between 5 and 7 pound ankle weights, and that gives me the extra challenge that I need.
All right, last in our progression of alternate hip flexion with that stable trunk is going to be using a stability ball. Now, when you're able to do this, you're already an expert opposite arm leg raise planker. You're already doing well on your crawling, guaranteed. So this you can throw in to keep it fresh in your programming and challenge yourself. So unstable, forearms on ball, toes on bench. We want them to be equal in their height. Okay, so I may move my bench up one notch as I look back, and that was not quite even. So we're going to go forearms on ball, elbows under shoulders. There's my plank. Okay, now here is march and back. And march, knee just under hip and back. So you're working very hard on the stabilizing leg and those hip flexors along with your abdominals on the front, keeping stable. You want to go into a little bit more of a Spider-Man with this and flare. Great. So now you can work in the flare and stabilize. Make fists. So I don't get my hands together and make a V that destabilizes my shoulder. I really want you here apart a little bit. So again, there's your march and there's your flare. Usually here, I do small rep ranges. Again, 5 each leg. You know, I got some guys that are, been around for a while with me training. They do maybe 8 per leg. So that is really the ceiling right there. Take a posture break, hit another set. Done at the end of your workout, remember.